So we recently did a project for one of the top 5 cricket players in the world called Glenn Maxwell. And so he's a very, very high profile global cricketer, got a massive fan base on social media. He's got 10 million people following him on social media. But he wanted to create a more personalised membership club and experience for super fans that get those fans closer to him and also get them closer to the game of cricket and also get them closer to the game's sponsors. So you have this network of this ecosystem around fandom of both the game of cricket and the player Glenn Maxwell. And so we stood up this project called Catch Max, and we weren't targeting cricket lovers, cricket nuts, but we weren't trying to find the crossover between cricket nuts and crypto enthusiasts.
Yeah.
We were just trying to target cricket nuts.
Welcome back to the NFT and Web3 Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Fabian, and today's episode is again in English because I have a very special guest. I have Brent Annells on the show. Brent is part of the Smart Token Labs team, and as the name already says, they make tokens smart. So we're not talking about only like digital assets or tradable assets. No, we're talking about really exciting new use cases. We're talking about how tokens can carry business logic and what that actually enables in terms of open loyalty, in terms of like new possibilities for brands to collaborate, to partner, but also what's in there for the user and how in the end everyone wins. And Brent is the perfect guy to talk about. He brings a lot of interesting insights and especially he brings a lot of real world examples how the future can look like, and that's why this conversation is so exciting. You definitely want to hear this. You definitely want to dive in. Just a short notice, if you want to have the German summary, you can sign up for the newsletter. You find the link in the show notes, or you head to YouTube where we have German subtitles. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Let's go. GM, welcome back to the NFT and Web3 Insider Podcast today with Brent from Smart Token Labs. And we have a lot of exciting things to talk about because we talk about token and how token can become smart. And that's, I think, something in Web3 which is fundamental. So Brent, before we dive into, let's say hello. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show. I'm happy to have you here.
Fabian, thanks so much for having me on, mate. I'm really looking forward to the chat.
Me too. And before we start, maybe you can just introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? How did you get into this whole like blockchain game and Web3 and tokenization? That would be great.
Yeah, sure. Well, my name's Brent. I'm the CMO at Smart Token Labs. I've been with Smart Token Labs for almost 2 years. We're an advanced tokenization company. We've been building in the space for almost 6 years. Building against a vision of tokenization where we see tokenization delivering the integrated web. And we have a very different view of tokenization. We see tokens as applications and points of integration for the next web, as opposed to the sort of first generation of tokens, currencies and collectibles, which were much more like assets. So the integrated web, integrating web services through tokenization, creating mainstream use cases based on better user experiences in Web 2.
That's pretty interesting because I think what we've seen over the last years and even in the last like 2 years with all the NFTs and stuff, it's about assets, right? So everyone is talking about like you can now own things, and I mean that's great, and it's a big step forward, and like how we would define like Web 2 and the transition to Web 3 because you can now own digital assets. But as you see it as like apps, and I think that's probably the definition for smart tokens. What is different? So it's not only that you can own things, but that probably something happens, right? So what can you like explain a little bit more about the difference between your definition of tokens and tokenization and like maybe the general perception?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, you can really look at it through the lens of integrating web services. And what we've created over the last 5 years is technology to create smart tokens. And smart tokens are programmable tokens that operate much more like applications. And so those tokens are what we believe will be the integration points for the next web. And essentially what we're solving for is, establish integration problems in Web 2 around large network experiences where there's customer experiences at the heart of them. So travel is an example, car ownership is an example, event attendance is an example, where there's an entire experience around, for example, travel, where an airline ticket is issued, and that's a core component that a user has that's issued by an airline. But then there's also a whole range of web services that are consumed and experienced as part of your travel experience. Your hotel booking, your car rental booking, accessing and booking attractions and events, maybe acquiring insurance, that sort of thing. So the entire ecosystem of experiences around the travel experience, we believe that tokenization, technology from Web 3 will be brought into Web 2 to make these travel experiences far more seamless for end users and overall a better experience. And we'll be solving some of the big Web 2 integration problems related to privacy and related to database integration, which is costly and time consuming. So it's using Web 3 technology to solve as an innovative technology to solve established problems around integration in Web 2.
And that's again a great example and a great strategy, I think, that you really solve problems. So you're not looking for something that you can just tokenize, but you're solving problems. Let's maybe dive into it a bit, into the whole travel example and make it more like tangible. So I have my ticket, my plane ticket, for example, my flight ticket, and then this is now a token. So I think some people heard already, okay, if this is now, let's say, some kind of token, an NFT, you can keep it, you could even resell it. But I think what you are envisioning and what you are building goes beyond that, because you would like putting the whole travel experience and connecting the token to like all the experiences and all the, let's say, for example, the hotel booking, right? So would it be like if let's say my plane is late, and then all the like the transport from the airport to the hotel and the hotel booking, they would all be adapted to it? Would that be like a scenario, or is it?
Yeah, that's a perfect example. And so when you think about what's happening there, you basically have a token that's going to be issued by the airline and given to the traveler, the consumer. And that token has, at a base level, it can carry some data over. So it can carry data. Just if you think about what's on an airline ticket as a starting point, it has who I am. It has where I'm traveling from and where I'm traveling to. It has the date of the travel. It has the time of the arrival. It has probably my membership status, whether I'm an economy traveler or I'm a premium traveler, or whether I'm a part of a loyalty program, that sort of thing. So that gives data. But a programmable smart token can also carry over business logic and functions. And that's what we've built through this smart token technology. So then when the user has this token, if they're going to go and consume other services related to the travel experience, then the token can carry both the data, but also the business logic, portable business functions or portable website functions can carry those into an insurance site. And so I can then go to an insurance site and it can see that I'm traveling, and I can obtain usage-based travel insurance just for that trip. Or exactly as you say, I can book a hotel based on, and I can get preferential treatment at that hotel. Maybe I get preferential offers. Maybe I get accelerated check-in. Maybe I get some sort of delayed checkout because I'm a premium traveler, so they want my business ongoing. Or maybe I've made the booking and the flight changes and it gets cancelled or it gets delayed by a day. And so there's a fundamental change that needs to happen. In that scenario, with the token as the integration point and that data integrating into the hotel booking site, that can be dynamically updated by this third-party service provider, a hotel provider, for the user to create a better user experience. And in that whole ecosystem, kind of what's happening here is the airline is giving you, Fabian, the ability to create more utility around your travel experience by taking ownership of some of the data related to your travel experience. And so in this case, it's nothing to do really about maybe selling your ticket on the secondary market, but it's all about the integration into the related services around the travel experience. And for American Airlines, they obviously they aggregate some of these services today on their own site. So you can book a ticket with American Airlines, and at the end of the booking, I can book a car, I can book a hotel. Yep. But it only gives me one choice typically, and it's a limited amount of choice. And that's not really how I consume it. So I just went away on a holiday for a few days with my kids, and I booked the ticket. And at the end of the checkout process for my ticket, I could have booked a hotel room and I could have booked a car. But that's not how I consume it. The hotel room's a really big part of the holiday. And I want to go and check out booking.com, and I want to check out Airbnb, and I want to contrast the prices, and I want to see whether there's a pool and how close this one is to the beach and what other services are in. And so there's a whole sort of shopping and consumption experience around that. Now, if American Airlines can give me my smart token around the ticket, and I can go and bounce between Airbnb and booking.com and Expedia, and they can all recognize my token, then I, as Brent, as a customer of American Airlines, is getting an amazing experience, and I'm getting utility into my travel that's been enabled by American Airlines, but in quite a different way to how it would normally be done. My brand affinity to American Airlines is going to be much stronger through that process, we believe.
That would have been my next question. So what is the advantage really for American Airlines to offer this kind of token? Because in the end, so if you book with them directly on the page, they probably get in some kind of commission because they sent you over and you booked the hotel. But now they can't really control where you're going with that token, right? So the whole ecosystem is becoming much more open. It's kind of like an open system, and you can now choose. So I definitely see the all the benefits for the user and for you when you are booking and choosing. But how does American Airline and all the other players in that game that adapt and that are open to use this technology, how do you see, or where do you see the big leverage for them?
Yeah, I mean, so it's a very legitimate question to ask. And so there are established commercial models where you're talking about some level of disruption being introduced into an established model. But if you just take the loyalty, around a travel experience or to car ownership or a range of different things, 77% of transactional loyalty programs fail within 2 years. 77%. So what we all know is that brands that sit at the heart of some of these ecosystem experiences, like an automotive manufacturer at the heart of a car ownership experience, or a telco at the heart of a connected home experience and all the services around that, they're all have, through Web 2, they experimented with aggregating services and aggregating benefits and rewards and offers into loyalty programs. But they're not really working. They're not really delivering value to the end consumer. They're not really introducing massive convenience. They're kind of introducing the way to clip a ticket. And so we truly believe that, if I'm British Airways, the world's favorite airline, that was their strapline for 25 years, I become the world's favorite airline not by taking a small clip on your hotel booking, but by creating a seamless travel experience for you. If I'm Coca-Cola and Coke is life, and I have a network of 200,000 restaurant partners around that serve Coca-Cola, if I can create bespoke experiences for Coca-Cola drinkers in that 200,000 restaurant partner network, because I've given them a smart token that attests to their fandom and they get personalized experience or something, I'm offering true utility to them. If I'm a telco and I want to create a true connected home experience, I want to be part of, I play this central role in connecting your life. I've got two choices. I can offer you discounted coffees and a free movie pass once a week, as part of my Thanks loyalty program that nobody uses and nobody values and it costs me a fortune and it's just totally ineffective. Or I can introduce true utility into your connected life. I can connect services. I can use the data that I have. I can give it to you in a tokenized form that allows you to have much more personalized and seamless experiences and create composable services in all these other parts of your life. And we believe tokenization, the integrated web, that's the next frontier in a lot of these things that I'm talking about.
Yeah, 100%, 100% agree. I think that's exciting times ahead for brands. But that was the reason why I asked the question, because I think there is some kind of, you need some kind of mind shift also for the brands a bit. So it feels like giving up control, but in the end, it's like creating much more value, right? And it's like you said, it's like a kind of the loyalty programs, they are evolving. So it's not about you earn some points and you can spend them on some stuff that costs the company a lot of money, but the people don't really want it. They just they spend their points because they have no other option. But now, I mean, there are a lot of options with this kind of open loyalty concept. I think it's exactly what you mentioned. You can now connect like everything, and you can be, or like at least what you bring in with all the data, with all the value, with the customer relationship, there is something bigger in the end for like everyone, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'll give you another example of this idea of a portable business function and around like a car ownership token, for example. So I have a car. I have let's just say I've got a VW or an Audi or something, and I've been issued a car ownership token by the automotive manufacturer. And I've been able to append to that car ownership. There's a whole range of things around the car ownership experience, obviously, right? Everything from maintenance and servicing to insurance to how I want to use my car. And today I can use my car in multiple ways to sweat the asset. I can do Uber, I can do rideshare driving. I can make my car available to lease on any number of a range of third-party services. Now, let's take the Uber example. If I could turn up on the Uber sign-up flow to be an Uber driver with my smart car token from VW, and I've got my insurance attested to that car ownership token, right? So it shows that I've got comprehensive car insurance. And I can be 4 steps into a 37-step process, or let's just say I'm 34 steps into a 37 sign-up process on the Uber driver flow. And at the 34th step, I need to prove that I have usage-based insurance to cover ride sharing in order to complete my application. So I've gone through this massive, long process to sign up to be an Uber driver. And at that point, now my smart token can actually at that point pull through a portable business function from my insurance provider that comes through with the token, that while I'm on the Uber website, it can automatically update me to include rideshare driving as part of my insurance policy on the spot, in the moment. I don't have to use the leave the Uber website. I don't have to leave the sign-up flow. And then I can go to step 35 on the sign-up process and continue and become an Uber driver. So that's another example of when we think of tokenization, we think of tokens, these new integration points, these enablement of these sort of like composable services. That's going to deliver a step change in experience and then all parties are winning. So the holder of the car token, the user is winning because they get to complete the flow. The insurance company who's issued the smart token is winning because they're getting to add usage-based insurance. And the service provider, in this case being Uber, is winning because they have massive dropout in the sign-up process because of this specific issue of car insurance. Right? So everybody's winning in that scenario.
How would that technically work? So does everyone have to have their own token in that scenario? So like, for example, the insurance company, they issue a token as well. And it's like because you mentioned the business logic. So I have the token from my car, like VW, and I use that, and now I need the insurance. So do they have an own token? Do they have some kind of interface API that they are calling? What is, like, a little bit for in layman terms, what is happening there on the technical side?
Yeah, so I mean, on the technical side, if you start with the token that's been issued, like the smart token that's been issued. So we've been building this technology for 5 years. We've created this technology for smart tokens. It's basically any token can have a programmable interface created around it. And that programmable interface can connect to the blockchain and the smart contract layer But it also, when the token issuer is issuing tokens, they can effectively inject like portable business functions, like a claim function or an insurance top-up function into that token wrapping. And so then when you turn up on the website with your token in your wallet that's got this programmable interface, it's then acting like an application into the Uber flow, and it's pulling through that portable top-up insurance function into that. And we think of that as like it's like a new digital primitive. So tokens, stepping away from tokens just as tradable assets as collectibles or currencies, they start to be far more analogous to a new digital primitive, like when we first had websites or when we first had mobile apps. Suddenly, tokens are like this third wave of digital primitive that can live within your wallet as a super user agent, but can also live within your Apple or Google wallet, because some of these tokens don't have to be on chain. Some of them can be off chain, and then the functionality can still pull through as an off chain token in the scenario that I've just described, because it doesn't actually need to be on chain in that situation.
Yeah, that might make sense. So how have you seen like let's say the last 2 to 3 years where like there was a hype about this whole tokenization? And I mean, we had several hype in the like crypto and blockchain era, but especially in the last years, it was about assets, right? And like now you can collect them and you can trade them, and there was this bubble and it was bursting. And since you're doing it for 5 years, I mean, you're really like a pioneer there, and you're coming from a use case point of view and really solving problems. So what was your like opinion, your view on the last years where like everyone was like just handing out the token or some kind of token or NFTs or stuff and saying, oh, we're doing this now, and this is the new hot shit here.
Yeah. Well, I think it's been interesting. I think every wave of technology innovation comes with its own peculiarities and issues and hype, and a gap between hype and reality at some level. And tokens have moved through 3 or 4 different phases, I guess. Tokens as currencies, as digital money, and then tokens as collectibles, and then tokens as proofs of identity, and I think what was really good about tokens as, from our perspective, it finally shifted this idea of the token as the primitive. So when I had a Bored Ape, I have a Bored Ape, and the Bored Ape enables me to do things. So very simple things started to happen around things like token gating. So I could get access into a specific thing because I held this token. I held this NFT. And it said something about me, and the fact I owned it, but it also said something to me about me as a theory, a certain type of consumer with maybe a certain sort of net worth associated with it, et cetera, that sort of thing. And for the first time, you didn't see people saying, I've got the Bored Ape DApp, or the app, the application, or the DApp, or the Bored Ape website. I've got the Bored Ape token. And so it started to, I think that for us was a shift, a step towards where we see a big part of it going, with tokens as these new objects of integration that can run like mini dApps within websites. And suddenly our vision has been since 2017, 2018, that tokenization is actually about the integrated web. It's actually about composable services. It's actually about streamlining customer experiences and creating efficiency in business services. So there's a whole, when we went back to 2018, 2019, nobody knew what we were talking about. I'd argue probably in 21, they didn't know what we were talking about either. We're just starting to get, so I think the journey that we've been through has helped get to the point today where people are talking about loyalty. They're talking about open loyalty. They're talking about sports membership programs. We've run some projects in those sort of spaces as well. And we're starting to, this idea of tokens as a new digital primitive, we believe everyone is going to have myriad tokens in their wallets. They're going to represent your preferences, your permissions, your privacy data, and they will be these objects that travel through you to create these quite remarkable experiences that aren't possible today. And they will solve major Web 2 integration problems as part of that.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I think for me it was kind of the same. So it really clicked when I saw this token, like for example, just the membership token, as you mentioned, that was something where it clicked for me that there is so much more than just like the collecting stuff, because I was like in the beginning was like everyone was about collecting and can trade it, but then really like the whole token gating, I think that's true for probably a lot of people that are in this space right now. They see now the potential that you can use this token. I mean, you're obviously one step ahead already, but I think the token getting, and that you have something in your wallet and you don't need to sign up for everything with email or with your like single sign on Google or stuff like that, but you can have your wallet, and your wallet, and depending on what's in there, what kind of token, what kind of membership cards, what kind of like utility passes or whatever, you can use that, connect to a website, and then have the utility right there and deliver to you. And then I think the next thing that clicked is exactly how I mentioned it. Like you can now have this kind of ecosystems, right? You have the open loyalty, and if you we talked about earlier, if you now have the ticket from British Airlines, and you can use it on several other like websites, or you can get like access to I don't know, certain lounges and stuff like that. You don't need to have this kind of separate app and this separate like card with you and prove everything again and look in your emails to see what your credentials were to log in, but you have it now in like an easy way. And I think that's really what I have seen over the last, let's say, 2 years, that this kind of consciousness about the possibilities like started to grow. Still, I would say there are like a lot of people that are completely completely not convinced that there is something, and I think probably it's from a technical point of view, it's still not easy, right? So if you want to set up a wallet, you want to have your token safe in it, if you want to have some kind of privacy, you still have to do a lot of things and to learn a lot of things. So what do you see, or how do you see, is this becoming easier for the, let's say, average user? And how, like if we talk kind of mass adoption, how do you see the way, or like the development in the next months and next years coming, that we really come to a place where it's easy to use and to have this whole utility and to participate in these use cases, but without maybe the whole entry barrier we have right now?
I think it's a really good question. So I can give you some real world examples of some projects we've done recently. So we recently did a project for one of the top 5 cricket players in the world called Glenn Maxwell. And so he's a very, very high profile global cricketer, got a massive fan base on social media. He's got 10 million people following him on social media. But he wanted to create a more personalized membership club and experience for super fans that get those fans closer to him, and also get them closer to the game of cricket, and also get them closer to the game sponsors. So you have this network of this ecosystem around fandom of both the game of cricket and the player Glenn Maxwell. And so we stood up this project called Catch Max, and we were targeting cricket lovers, cricket nuts. But we weren't trying to find the crossover between cricket nuts and crypto enthusiasts.
Yeah.
We were just trying to target cricket nuts. And we used some of our smart token technology you could basically sign up for Catch Max. You could create a customizable digital pass that looks very much like your own NFT, because it's got dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of combinations of images and backgrounds and add-ons that you create for your pass. And when you create that pass, you generate what we call an off-chain token that is a cryptographic proof of your membership. And it's a cryptographic proof of a series of data points about you. So, what region you're from, that you love cricket, that you love Glenn Maxwell, and a series of other things. And then that token, that off-chain token, actually gets stored in your browser, and then ultimately gets stored in a Google or Apple wallet at this point.
Okay.
And that unlocks all of this ecosystem of stuff around the game. So there's specific cricket sponsors that were like ASICS and Kookaburra that the bats and do the attire that you use, the cricket gear. And so for cricket fans that join the membership club that play cricket, they got to get discounted gear and special rewards and offers from the cricket sponsors. There's game day privileges that people got around access to tickets, and that's an ongoing thing, which is provided by the code and the stadiums. So they're creating, because you're a cricket lover. And then there's, just brand sponsors like KFC, that are doing promotions of popcorn chicken, buckets of popcorn chicken, right, related to their cricket sponsorship, that are willing to give special promotion to bring these people in. So you're creating this ecosystem around the fan experience around cricket. You're letting them come into it without having to have a wallet and without having to mint an NFT. Once they've created the pass, they have a pathway to being able to turn that pass into an NFT. They can mint it on chain. If they wanted to, they could then trade that pass and the benefits that come with the pass on chain, but they don't need to. So it's a way to enable, you're solving again some of these integration problems between Glenn Maxwell and the code or the sponsors. You're starting to create a closed loop ROI model, but you're enabling all of that because the fan gets the pass. The pass is a token. The token unlocks these special experiences for them. So you get a closed loop around ROI for the sponsors of the game. You're getting these seamless experiences created for fans of the game, but you're removing some of the traditional Web3 hurdles that you don't have to have a wallet, you don't have to mint an NFT to be part of that.
That's great. That's a great example. And I think everyone wins again, right? Because also for the sponsors, you have like now you can really see or like measure a little bit of your ROI, and you can offer like dedicated like offers and things to the people that have certain or meet certain criteria, right? So I think for them it's great. For the cricket player, it's great because you can connect, you can give something to your fans, and you can like have a different relationship or a closer relationship to them. And I think it's a great example for this whole, again, like ecosystem that develops, and where you bound people or you pull people closer together. And I think it shows also that it's not only like a technology for like big companies like we talked about earlier, airlines and car manufacturers and like huge corporations like that, but also like for people that have maybe some fans, or they have a audience and want to use not to use them, but to use the tokenization, to use smart tokens to like develop a closer relationships and offer something for the fans, but also like maybe attract new sponsors, for example. So
yeah, 100%. And I think what's cool about it is in that scenario, so Web3 technology, tokenization technology, is the application of innovative technology to integration things that are hard to do today. So it is possible for a sponsor to offer a benefit to a member of a club. Like that is totally possible to do today. But there are barriers, and as soon as you go from one sponsor to multiple sponsors to a game day to an ecosystem of partners, you have privacy barriers. So you have these privacy issues around, Glenn Maxwell sharing data about Fabian as a member of his club with KFC, right? Instantly, that brings with it challenges. Glenn Maxwell has to be totally explicit when he's collecting the data from the fan about what KFC is going to do with it in order to be able to collect that data, and then the fan has to approve that, and they have to give permission for that very, very, very specific use case. What's happening here is Glenn Maxwell is saying to Fabian as a holder of your pass, I'm giving you the right to have this data appended to your token, and for you to then go and have your own interaction with KFC and choose whether you want to share that data or not, or ASICs or Kookaburra to get certain types of rewards. So it's actually resolving a bunch of the upfront barriers to PII data sharing to create better experiences. So it is, the application. What I like about this sort of stuff is it it is bringing technology solutions to existing problems in Web 2 where, loyalty programs are just the same. It's really hard to be dynamic when you create a loyalty program about the type of partners you bring in and constantly cycle in new partners with new offers and new experiences for your members, because every single one you have to go through a database integration challenge and then a PII data challenge. And, there are solutions to that exist, but tokenization makes it much more nimble and it's user-centric, and it puts the integration point in the user's hand to then go and open up. And I think this stuff is going to open up. It's going to bring composability to business services and web-based business services that we've never seen before.
Yeah. And also for like KFC in that example, right? They can, or like take like Starbucks now. They want to offer, like, for the same crowd, they want to offer something very special. So they can do it. And if you talk about like on-chain later, I mean, obviously the data will be also open, but now Starbucks can come in and also say, okay, I want to give a special offer to those fans, and everyone that hold a specific token can get that kind of benefit, right? I don't know, coffee for free or membership program benefits or something like that. And they don't need to have data about me. I mean, they would probably see something on chain, but they don't need to know like my name, my age, where I live, and stuff like that. They just say, okay, we offer that to all the fans, and in the end, it's again value for all, because the fan program and like the membership will be much more valuable because you have more benefits, but you can still decide if you go to Starbucks or if you rather not. So I think that we haven't, as you said, we haven't seen this before. So there are exciting opportunities ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So what would you recommend for businesses, and maybe also even small and medium-sized businesses to start, and maybe how can they for example come to you and start with you on developing use cases and using your technology? So so first question, have you recommendations for starting in general if I run a business, and I'm excited about that opportunities, but I haven't really done anything in Web3 so far? And second question, how can you help them to like jumpstart in that space?
Yeah, okay. So I think on the first question about how people can get started, I think there's just two questions to start with. I think one is, do you want to cater to a Web3 user base, or do you want to cater to the entire user base? That's your starting point. So if you want to cater to a Web3 user base, which is totally legitimate, then I think you can experiment with issuing NFTs, and you can just do simple token gating, and you can unlock experiences, and you can do that on Shopify stores. I mean, we have a plugin for Shopify called Brand Connector, which enables you to do token gating. Lots of people do. So I think you can create sort of VIP membership based simple experiences where NFT token unlocks gated access to cool stuff, and that's a great place to get started if Web3 early adopters are a primary audience for you and you want to experiment around that. Makes total sense. If the answer is, I want to reach a broader audience, so I want to create experiences for all Coca-Cola drinkers or all sports fans or all Taylor Swift fans, as an example, then that's where you need to start thinking about technology that opens the aperture up and makes it easier for more people to participate from the beginning. And I guess for us, our solution to that is Smart Layer Network. We've been building all of this technology as open source technology for the last 5 or 6 years. We are now taking it to market as Smart Layer. Smart Layer is a decentralized services network that makes it very easy for a token issuer to issue a smart token. So whether that's an airline or Coca-Cola or a bank or a small business, they can use SLT token to issue a programmable smart token. And then that Smart Layer makes it very easy for any third-party service provider to integrate into the smart token and offer third-party services. So that's our solution to making it much easier to initiate these mainstream use cases. so that the end user can get a smart token issued by a smart token issuer and then connect to a range of third-party services, web-based services around the experience that they're having.
So where do people find more about the smart Lego solutions? How can they contact you if they have questions? How can they look into it? So where can they find you?
So, I mean, you can come to us at smartlayer.network. So it's just smartlayer.network. That's our website, and you can sign up and you can get information about the project and view all our documentation, read the light paper. You can go on the wait list for updates and all that sort of thing. You can hit me up directly at mainly on LinkedIn is my primary source. So it's just Brent Annells on LinkedIn, or you can go and hit us up as a project team, Smart Token Labs. We're at TokenScript on Twitter.
All right. So we put all the links. So in case somebody didn't write fast enough, so we put all the names in the show notes. So people, you can just click. Brent, thanks a lot for all this insight. I'm really excited. So I think we could go on for hours talking about like open loyalty programs, because I think there's so much potential there, and there's so much happening, and for everyone, right? For brands, for companies, for people to use it, for also offer like people that are offering professional services in that area. So I think there are exciting times ahead. So thanks a lot for all the insights. And yeah, I would like give the last word to you. So if you could give our listeners just like one more tip, one more suggestion, can be like everything. What would that be?
Just get involved. That's my simple. I think a bias to act in new technology. A bias to action is a really good thing. It can always be a bit overwhelming. Web3, AI. There's always new changes coming. But I think if you just do a little bit each day, get your hands dirty. Join a DAO, get involved in a project, become a contributor, or just become a lurker in a Discord. But just do a little bit each day. That's the best. You can really accelerate in all these new technology areas beyond most of your peers by just spending 15 or 30 minutes a day, playing around with the tech. And if you do that, you'll put yourself in a really good position.
100%. Thank you, Brent. Was a pleasure to have you on. And yeah, see you soon.
Thanks so much, Fabian. I really enjoyed it.
Until the next time. Peace and out. Bye bye. Noch ein kurzes Schlusswort in eigener Sache. Wenn du im Bereich Web3 und Metaverse auf dem Laufenden bleiben möchtest, dann abonniere den Web3 Plus N Newsletter, denn dort bekommst du 3 Tipps, Anregungen oder Gedanken von mir und das N, die News der Woche, also einfach in Bullet Points ganz knapp und knackig zusammengefasst, alles was gerade passiert. Du bekommst einen Einblick hinter die Kulissen und hast so aktuelle Entwicklungen des Web3 immer im Blick. Das Ganze direkt in deine Inbox, ohne 24/7 auf Twitter oder Discord aktiv sein zu müssen und damit in weniger als 5 Minuten pro Woche. Der Web3 Plus N Newsletter, den Link findest du in den Shownotes. Und ja, wenn dir diese Folge gefallen hat, abonniere den Podcast, teile die Folge gerne mit Freunden oder auf Social Media und hinterlass eine Bewertung. Ich stecke sehr, sehr viel Energie und Herzblut in den Podcast und damit würdest du meinen Gästen und mir unglaublich weiterhelfen. Danke dafür. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Peace and out.